Aujourd'hui, on se retrouve sur Stanley, The Stanley Parable, parce qu'on est bilingue ici. Non, je rigole. Aujourd'hui, on se retrouve sur Stanley Parable. Première découverte pour moi, perso. Bah, j'ai hâte, parce qu'apparemment, c'est bien. Avez-vous déjà joué à ce Stanley Parable? Non. Je n'ai jamais joué. Déplacez le curseur jusqu'à ce que l'ordinateur soit à peine visible. À peine visible. Attends, on va mettre par rapport à vous. Comme ça, vous voyez bien aussi. Tac. C'est parfait. Attendez, on va juste baisser ça pour que ça soit bien. L'heure actuelle, alors il est 21h. Ah, PM. Nous, c'est AM. C'est-à-dire les 9h AM. Je crois, c'est ça. Ah, putain, j'ai mal joué. Je pensais que c'est la reprendre à 10. Allez, 11. Allez, c'est parti. Tac, c'est parfait. Les paramètres d'accessibilité sont accessibles depuis le menu principal. Ok. Je pense qu'on va baisser la qualité, sinon ça va bugger, ça va pas être très agréable. Donc voilà. C'est parfait. Tac, on va juste fermer ça. Oh! Je viens de me faire agresser auditivement. Attendez, audio. Oh, c'est fort de ouf. Baissons ça tout de suite. Voilà. Alors, commande, vidéo. Vidéo. Vous entendez ou pas? Ou c'est... Est-ce que c'est vous avez même pas de son? Tac. Bon, attends, je vais augmenter un peu le son. Voilà. Vidéo sans bordure, ok. Type de qualité faible. On peut mettre encore plus faible? Non, élevé. Je sais pas si vous avez remarqué, mais on voit derrière. Et ça, c'est une dinguerie. Attendez 2 secondes. Je vais mettre en QWERTY, comme ça. Pas obligé de changer mes touches. Tac. Français, c'est bien ça. Champ de vision, inversé, vibration de manette. Bah, je veux pas la manette. Et normalement, bon, ça va, ça cache rien. Regardez, ouais, ça montre sur le petit ordi, c'est trop bien. Je trouve ça trop stylé. Non, mais j'ai entendu que du bien de ce jeu. Bah, j'espère que ça va bien rendre. Parce que voilà. Ultra de luxe en plus, moi j'ai. Alors, c'est pas de la gnognotte, hein. Utiliser le terme gnognotte, c'est une tuerie. Tac. Et ben, c'est bien long. Oh. Bah ouais. Ouais. Eh ben dis donc. Charge. J'ai mis 32 RAM dans un PC, c'est pas pour que ça charge. Ah.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 4.
Yes. Bon, désolé, j'ai passé la cinématique. Hein. Ok, je suis Stanley. Stanley. Ok. J'ai pas de curseur. C'est très sensible. C'est trop sensible, même. Attends, paramètres. Sensibilité de la caméra. Par contre, j'adore les... On entend vraiment les touches de clavier. Ouais, c'est pas la bonne heure.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Pourquoi je devrais aller en salle de réunion? Je vais aller faire du parcours. Parcours. Je peux pas sauter.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Et alors, ça te fait quoi si je fais pas avancer l'histoire? Moi, j'aime
No
bien...
matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
J'ai envie de voler les stylos de mes collègues. Je trouve que c'est un bon but comme histoire. En vrai, il est beau le jeu. Esthétiquement. Waouh. Et si on bouge pas? Ça fait quoi? Tu vas faire quoi, le narrateur, si j'ai pas d'histoire? On va essayer de tout faire, même les trucs les plus cons. Comme ça, je pense que ça peut donner de bons trucs. Ah, cette porte est fermée. 426. Oh, il y a un ordi. Oh! J'ai envie d'aller derrière. Non. Faut une clé. Oh!
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Ouais,
Perhaps
ça.
he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
404. C'est une erreur, ça. Genre l'erreur 404.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring.
Wow.
It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Bah ouais, j'aime bien l'atmosphère. Je trouve ça assez reposant dans le sens où c'est très...
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings.
Mais j'ai l'impression de me faire juger là, c'est...
At this, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Ah ah, tu crois que je vais aller dans la pièce là? Oh. Je vais aller ici, en face, je trouve. Je trouve ça plus...
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Mais laisse-moi! Je suis une personne très dispersée.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Est-ce que...
I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
Bah si, j'ai le droit.
I'm not asking
Laisse-moi
for me.
prendre mon choix.
I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Elle attend qui? Une femme? Une femme m'attend? Ça lag un peu, je trouve. J'espère que c'est pas trop saccagé, parce que même pour moi c'est saccagé. Donc on va essayer de pas que ça soit désagréable. Oh, une porte noire. Oh, j'ai...
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach
mon
out to
Dieu.
her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the...
Je suis mort. Mon ordinateur il a craché? Ah non, ça va aller. Oh mon
Oh,
dieu.
Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come
Je peux
in
pas
and tell
bouger.
me all about...
Quoi?
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
C'est pas très gentil ça.
Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Je rentrerai pas. Il m'a vexé dans mon petit cœur. Comment ça, y a personne pour m'aimer? C'est pas très gentil. Tu vas faire quoi si je rentre pas? Ouais, bon, bah, ok, je vais rentrer.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Quoi?
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him.
Je suis mort?
And every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
J'appuierai pas. Tu me prends pour un enfant. Je peux pas passer par là. Laissez-moi fuir d'ici. Je peux pas appuyer sur une autre touche. Laissez-moi appuyer sur une autre touche. Ah! Non, ça va aller. Je vais y arriver.
But in his mind,
Ok, bon, bah c'est bon.
in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
C'est
From
fou d'être
behind his
aussi
desk,
docile.
Stanley dreamed
Wow.
of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
La télévision. Oh là. Oh ouais.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The
Mais la
thought
télé.
excited him terribly.
Ouais, j'ai lu autre chose. Ouais, j'ai envie de
So
passer du
he
temps.
went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Ok. C'est un QTE en fait. Il est où le M en QWERTY? Je suis en train d'appuyer sur toutes les touches. C'est où un M en QWERTY? Je sais même pas. Attendez. Je vais juste mettre en français pour appuyer sur la touche M parce que je sais pas où c'est M.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations.
Tac.
Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Ok. Wow.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Et arrêtez avec le M là. Je sais toujours pas où il est.
But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself?
C'est drôle.
How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time.
Est-ce que ça
And I
serait une
tried
bonne
again,
idée?
and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried.
J'ai appuyé sur une touche. Je viens de mourir, vraiment? Ok, bon, bah... Je suis mort. C'est génial. Franchement, je suis heureuse d'avoir eu la mort.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Alors. Mur. Prophète. Profit. Ok. Des personnes qui sont pas censées y être. Les 2 roues. Voilà. Je suis génial. Bon bah on va aller dans le bureau du boss. Merde. C'est où?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Si je veux trouver un truc. Je peux pas avoir une clé à outils.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ok, on fait ce qu'il dit. Regarde, on fait des petits trickshots en même temps. Wow. C'est quoi là-bas? Il y a une grosse étiquette. Coucou. C'est Mijirashi qui dit ça. Alors. You've got the feeling. Money for stealing. But no you of course. So that lovely purse. Je ne comprends pas l'anglais. Je sais juste qu'il y a des petits verres là. Je peux pas me voir dans le miroir? Non, bien sûr que non. Même le miroir veut pas m'afficher, c'est aberrant ça. Oh. Non. On va aller dans le bureau. Oh, il a une cravate. C'est une cravate.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley
Alors,
wondered in
là,
disbelief who
je
orchestrated
dois,
this. What dark secret
je
was
sais
being
pas,
held
retrouver
from
mes
him?
collègues.
What he could not have known was that
Mais
the
c'est un
keypad
jeu où
behind
genre
the
je
boss's
peux
desk
soit
guarded
faire
the
ce qu'il dit,
terrible
soit ne
truth
pas faire ce
that
qu'il
his
dit.
boss had
Et il y a
been
plusieurs
keeping
fins.
from him.
Je sais
And
pas
so
si
the
j'ai bien
boss had
expliqué.
assigned it an extra
Mais moi aussi je le
secret
découvre
pin
donc
number, 2845.
voilà. 2, 8,
But of
4,
course,
5.
Stanley couldn't possibly have
2,
known this.
4, 5, 8. J'ai dû oublier le code.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly
2,
know
8, 4,
that the
5.
combination was
Ouais.
2845.
Il me l'a dit une fois et j'ai pas retenu. Yes.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into
Wow.
the newly opened passageway.
En fait tout ça était qu'un prank. Donc tout le monde est parti. Oh, un gros bouton rouge. Toujours cliquer dessus. C'est la règle des boutons rouges en vrai. Oh, un gros ascenseur. Pas du tout suspect, moi je trouve. C'est magnifique.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar.
C'est pour ça qu'ils me payaient pas mes bonus. Je préférais installer des ascenseurs qui amènent nulle part. C'est génial, je trouve. C'est spécial. Wow, ça crépite. Ah, ça lag. Mind Control Facility. Ouais, c'est ce que je viens de dire. Wow. J'ai eu un remonté. Je me suis gavé de chips. Bon. Soit on a ce gros contrôleur de cerveau, enfin de pensée facilité en plus, soit un escape. Enfin une sortie, j'imagine. Je pense que c'est là. Waouh. C'est de toute beauté. Un gros bouton.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Waouh. C'est le mystère. Tout est si mystérieux, je trouve. Y a pas un autre gros bouton? Y a un autre gros bouton.
Now the monitors jumped to life. Their
Wow.
true nature
C'est Squid
revealed.
Game.
Each bore the
Je
number of an
reconnais.
employee
Attends,
in the
moi je suis le
building.
727, je crois.
Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
C'est vraiment des caméras
eternally
cachées.
monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Attends, y a pas. Numéro 1. Waouh. Employé viré. Ok. Waouh. C'est trop beau. En vrai. trouve que c'est un peu flippant, mais c'est stylé.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't
Non,
be
en vrai,
true.
non, je trouve pas.
Had Stanley
Je
really
trouve
been under
c'est
someone's
juste
control all this
pour notre
time?
sécurité.
Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Je suis un robot. Ouais, c'est pour ça que j'écoute cette voix.
No, he refused to believe it. He
Ouais, je crois
couldn't
pas.
accept it. His own life
Révolution.
in someone else's control? Never. It was
Never.
unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had
Wow.
he truly
Wow.
spent his entire
Lumière.
life utterly
Lumière.
blind to the world?
Il y a plein de lumière.
Here was the proof. The heart of the
Oh,
operation.
plein de boutons.
Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it
Vraiment, je
monitored
fais
and
tout ce qu'il faut pas
commanded
faire.
from
Je
this
clique sur tout et
very
n'importe
place.
quoi.
And as the cold reality of
À
his
tout moment,
past
c'est pour
began
tous
to
nous
sink in,
tuer.
Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once
Quoi?
and for all.
Pourquoi je me fais... Pourquoi je peux pas aller où je veux, là? Mais laissez-moi aller là. Mais laissez... Mais vraiment, je ne peux pas. Je bouge tout seul. C'est quoi ça? J'ai été possédé par le fantôme du contrôleur. Oh non, là c'est moi qui ai juste pris la porte. Waouh. En vrai, imagine, tu joues à un jeu vidéo sur 7 écrans. Genre, là t'as ton clavier, t'es obligé de tourner la tête si t'as un ennemi. Ou tu
And
fais
when
du
at
code.
last he found the source of the room's power, he... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Non.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Oui. Je veux le contrôle.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do.
J'aime.
But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex.
Off.
How long
Laissez-moi.
until detonation then?
Laissez-moi.
Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. This is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to
J'imagine que
enjoy
c'est la
it.
seule porte qui est
Mere
ouverte.
moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
Sur un très gros écran en plus. Non, fallait cliquer sur les boutons. Je ne captais. Non. Oui, je vais mourir. Je panique. Arrêtez de paniquer. Allez, on peut y arriver, on peut.
Merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it.
C'est pas
I'm
ça?
going to put some extra time on
Yeah.
the clock. Why not?
Non.
These are precious additional
Mais je suis
seconds.
mort.
Time doesn't grow on
Je suis
trees.
tellement mort.
Oh dear me, what's the matter,
Je vais manger
Stanley?
mes...
Is it that you have no idea
Ah.
where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing
Ah.
right now?
J'en
Or
ai
did
marre.
you just assume when you saw that timer that
Bon,
something
bah.
in this room was capable of turning it off?
Après, on peut se laisser
mean,
mourir
look at
aussi, hein.
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me.
De quoi les gros boutons?
Do you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have
Le 3.
any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along.
Pourquoi il y a des
It's just
couleurs?
seconds ticking
Pourquoi il y a un
away
bouton
till
3?
death. You're only still playing instead of watching a
Il y a un bouton
cutscene that
5.
would watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To
Il y a un
see
putain de
you
bouton
made
5.
humble.
Mais mange tes morts, le narrateur. Mange
It's a
tes morts.
tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first.
Goodbye,
so
employé.
you can't.
Bon bah.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big
Bon,
boom
bah,
and then nothing. No
je crois
ending,
qu'on
just
est
you
mort.
being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life?
Comme dirait
or will you
Squeezie,
let it go
mais c'est
peacefully?
ciao.
Another choice. Make it count. Or don't.
C'est
It's all
génial,
the
ça.
same to me. All a part of
Génial.
And believe me, I will be laughing at every
Ça
second
tremble
of your
un peu,
inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Yes. Yes, ce n'est qu'à nous revoir. Eh ben, on s'amuse bien ici, hein. Punaise. Et ben voilà, je suis revenu au point de départ. Va bien manger tes morts, le narrateur. Je t'écoute plus jamais.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Je m'en fous qu'ils ont
Stanley
disparu et
decided
qu'ils
to
mangent
go
leurs
to the
morts.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
C'est une dinguerie de faire ça.
When Stanley came to a set of two open, this was not the
Ah, le
correct way
chef.
to the meeting room,
Chef.
and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps
Mange
he
tes
wanted
morts.
to stop by the employee lounge first,
Jamais je
just
te
to
suis.
admire it.
Ouais, je suis bien en salle de pause,
Wow.
comme ça je risque pas
Yes,
d'exploser.
This room. What a beautiful... But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead
Le
to the
bouton rouge,
opposite door,
la règle.
and got back on track.
La règle du bouton rouge. Mais c'est une dinguerie. C'est une dinguerie.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So
Mange
now,
ton
in order to get back, he
saucisson.
needed to go,
Mange ton saucisson.
From here, it's, left.
Ok.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Il me fait chier, en plus il sait même pas ces trucs.
No, not
Arrête
the
de-
right. Why would I
Je me
have
prends les
ever
murs.
said it was
Je
to the
reprends les
right?
murs à cause de toi.
What was I thinking? It's
Ouais,
clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Comment ça tu sais pas où je suis? T'es un
Now,
narrateur.
let's see, we went down,
À part
right,
si c'est le
left,
chef depuis le début.
Down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Oui, il est chiant. Il est embêtant. Tu sais pas où tu vas. Mais c'est suspect qu'il sait pas où on va.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Non.
And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm?
Non.
Okay, from
Non,
the top.
vraiment pas. Mais mange tes morts. Arrête.
All of his co-workers
Laisse-moi
were gone.
découvrir.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
C'est comme si on
Perhaps
fait un
he had
jeu, il y a
simply
toujours
missed a
quelqu'un qui est en
memo.
mode « Ouais, mais fais ça plutôt !» Non, non, tu me laisses découvrir.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over,
envie d'aller
completely
là.
fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change?
Oui, pourquoi il y a plusieurs
Stanley,
portes?
did you change
Pourquoi il y a
anything
des-
when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the
Bah ouais.
story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the
On doit trouver
story.
l'histoire, d'accord, d'accord, genre... C'est moi qui dois trouver ton histoire. Non mais vraiment, t'as cru que c'était moi le scénariste. C'est un labyrinthe. Un labyrinthe de saucissons. Oh, ça donne faim. Saucisson à l'ail. J'ai l'impression de déjà vu. Je suis très
I'll say
nulle.
it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can
Très
promise
nul
you
en truc.
there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart
Non,
the game again?
redémarre par le jeu.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and
Oui.
over again, but it's got
Laisse-moi
to be better
découvrir.
than this.
Même si ton
Okay,
jeu est à
let's give it
chier.
a shot. Why not?
Mange tes morts. Je t'ai dit non. Tu comprends pas quoi là-dedans.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Il y a même plus de porte.
Okay, yep, it's worse.
T'as-
I
t'as-
might be remembering this wrong.
Ah bah oui.
It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the
Il
other
est complètement
direction
fada le
and see
mec.
if we missed anything?
Non mais c'est une dinguerie. Il y a même plus de porte. J'ai l'impression d'être dans les backrooms. Non mais ça se transforme en jeu d'horreur. Hein. C'est pas possible.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Je me reprends. Mais c'est pas censé être là ça. Oh mon dieu.
Now this...
Quoi?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office
Mais-
building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were
No.
supposed to be doing,
No.
how about this?
Non.
You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so
Il y a vraiment encore
good
d'idées.
job.
C'est vraiment un cours d'idée mon ref.
No, I don't feel right about
déconne.
this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for
Bah
that
ouais, j'ai
win.
rien fait.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't
Moi,
care
ça
what
va.
might happen
Non.
this time. I have to restart.
Ne redémarre pas. Ah d'accord. Ah Adaf. Il sait même plus chier. Hein. Vraiment.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't
The
get
Stanley
lost,
Adventure
I've
Line.
employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Je ne suis vraiment... Oh bah, j'ai été à son PC. J'espère qu'il avait pas de dossier important. Bah, il a même pas de PC lui. Oh, c'est triste, il a juste un tas-crayon. Oh, je peux me sneak. Oh là là. C'est parfait, on va rester là. Ah, je suis obligée de suivre ces lignes bien jaunes là. Je sais pas.
No, I'm down. We're living it up to the line from now on.
Ah, d'accord, autant pour moi. C'est même plus là en plus. Il change d'idée comme de chemise. Je sais même pas s'il porte des chemises. Bon. En vrai, là, ça...
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward,
pas chier,
are we
n'empêche.
implying a journey such that a destination
Ah oui,
is
d'accord.
inevitably conjured into being
Ça marchait sur une
via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
J'ai eu trop peur. Elle est trop bien la musique. Je vais accomplir une quête. Ah ouais, d'accord.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Pourquoi?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Pourquoi? Je vais faire quoi? J'ai activé un truc? Je vais suivre la ligne. Moi je voulais la musique. Elle était très bien la musique. Je vais accomplir des quêtes. Elle part un peu en couille la ligne, non?
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Oh! T'as fait une ligne, t'as réussi à te tromper. On dirait moi...
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. This all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
I hate Monday. C'est tellement vrai. Bon, par contre... Mystère CPC. Ah, mais il est là. J'avais pas vu. Oh.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
C'est où je tourne en rond là?
Oh no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Ah bah y a pas d'autre chemin en fait. Hein. Je vais passer... Ok. Je peux pas trop passer.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How
Pratiquement, tu
important
as
we
le
mustn't
contrôle, pas moi.
squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted
J'ai
reverse
l'impression
door's
vraiment d'être
origin.
débile.
So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door
C'est
lead us to
aberrant.
where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny
Ouais, bah attends,
awaits.
c'est ce que tu me dis. Oh, une porte. Attends.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me
Oh, c'est
that's
toutes
what
les
this
fins.
is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to
Au bout
forget?
d'un moment, Stanley
Well, what if
meurt.
I don't want to forget?
Quoi?
My
Le
mind
narrateur est
goes
parti.
blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped?
Oh là là, c'est quoi
Does that
ça?
mean, did we do it?
horrible.
Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we
Attends
even
2
know?
secondes.
Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Et déjà, il se passe quoi là?
So,
Pourquoi le temps il s'est arrêté?
okay.
J'ai arrêté de jouer?
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey
de
and not
redémarrer
the
moi-même.
destination. So I hope that's where
Faire un
we
lien,
are
un autre
right
bâtiment,
now.
faire des
We'll
micros,
find
une
out,
autre
won't we?
voix.
Eventually. Well, in the meantime,
J'ai eu trop peur. J'ai entendu un vieux bruit, j'ai fait à tout moment c'est mon PC, mais non, ça va. Ok. Ok, ouais. Ouais. J'en ai bien marre.
all of his co-workers were
Voilà,
gone.
il répète la
What
même
could it
chose.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace, its subtle but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh là 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 là.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
On rappuie sur le bouton, moi je dis. On se laisse pas avoir.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Je connais.
No, not the
On
right.
se fait pas avoir.
Why would I have ever
plus
said
malin.
it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Et voilà, c'est le pompon sur la Garonne.
Let's see, we went down, right, left, down, left,
Ouais.
right. Yep,
Ouais.
okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Waouh. Une voiture. On en a sur le capot. Ah, et là on arrive.
No, 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 no. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick,
Ok.
Stanley, close your eyes.
Ok.
Okay.
Ouais,
We
je
just
réponds la
have to
même
get
chose.
back to,
Ok.
oh, who am I kidding? It's all.
Là, si je fais ça, tu vas faire quoi? Je l'ai redémarré avant. Ah ah! Je n'ai pas censé prévoir que j'ai redémarré le jeu.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Il dit pas la même chose que d'habitude. C'est étrange.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
On suit ce qu'il dit.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go
Cette
up
fois,
to
on
his
ira prendre
boss's office.
l'ascenseur, je trouve.
Hoping he might coming to a staircase, Stanley walked
Oh, bah non, on
upstairs to
descend
his
sinon.
boss's office.
C'est terrifiant. Oh, on est dans le parking.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment.
Arrête de
for
parler,
no
tu vois pas que
reason
ça
at
se
all?
répète?
None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other
parle
strange
trop.
observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have
Je
finally
ne
found an
comprends
answer, an
absolument rien.
explanation.
Est-ce que je dois...
His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose
pense que
I'll wake
Stanley,
up
il a une
soon.
voix très
I'll have to
sensuelle,
go back to
très
my
douce.
boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and
Quoi?
Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head.
Je veux une paille là.
One he was amazed he hadn't asked
Ça
himself
aussi, ça peut être dans
sooner.
mon rêve.
Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found
Je
it
suis
particularly
schizophrène.
strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts.
Ah,
he
j'enlève mon
thought.
écouteur.
And while he thought it all very odd,
C'est
and wondered
parfait.
if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
Ouais.
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream.
Je...
So he
Quoi?
closed his eyes gently,
Quoi?
and
Mais
he
non.
invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin,
Oh,
the press of the mattress on his back,
je vois rien.
the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream.
Je vous rassure,
I
je vois
wish
rien
it to
aussi.
be
Hein.
over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Putain, tout ça pour ça en plus.
Stanley began screaming.
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I?
And everything went black.
Ça m'a mis un coup de pression premier degré. Est-ce que
This
je
is
suis
the
royale?
story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go
Depuis le début, je suis un clochard.
for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like.
Je savais pas que c'était
And in
Clochard
that
Simulator.
moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in
Je ne suis pas
control of
débile.
my mind.
Yes.
I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this. So
Morale
it
de
was
l'histoire,
only a
ne
moment
pas
that
être
she
fou.
stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Pourquoi elle s'est mise à courir? Elle s'est dit, oh bah c'est bien, ma vie elle est pas si nulle en fait. J'aurais pu être mort. Bordel. Waouh. Waouh. J'ai eu un effet bizarre là d'un coup. Ça a été trop fluide d'un coup, j'ai fait.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he coming to a staircase.
Boss, je veux
Stanley
une
walked
augmentation.
upstairs to his boss's office.
Mince. C'est très beau par contre. J'ai toujours voulu être ici. Lécher les bottes de mon patron. Et être en mode oh patron, vous êtes si beau. Ah oui, non,
Stepping
merde.
in.
Je lui ai fait une feinte. Ah. Bon bah yes. Ah c'est bon. Oh. Money is the morning, money is the evening. Money is for breakfast. Money crisp. Monnaie. L'argent, la moulaga. Bon bah. Visiblement. Visiblement de visiblement. On va pas redescendre. Ce serait... Je crois que j'ai fait bugger le jeu. Hmm. Hmm. J'ai envie de me dire peut-être. Monnaie, monnaie, monnaie. C'est monnaie. Le mystère, c'est possible.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Poison day? What? What the poison? Comment ça? J'ai pas compris, je suis pas bilingue. Ah, du noir. You are tué maintenant vivant. Eh ben, dis donc. Donc j'ai pas redémarré le jeu. J'aimerais bien qu'il y ait quelqu'un, genre. Je me sens seule dans le jeu. Oh, bah, je me prends tous les murs. « 756. Si on n'arrive pas au 757, je pète mon crâne. C'est bon. C'est-à-dire qu'on tourne pas en rond. Par contre, je dois aller jusqu'à combien? Peut-être jusqu'à 800. Enfin, 760. Eh, il me met trop mal. J'ai trop peur de tomber sur un truc. Ah. Escape. Oh, il me met trop mal. Ah, attendez, je remets mes écouteurs. Ils sont tombés. En plus, l'ambiance, ça me met trop mal. C'est génial, ça. Il fait tout noir. J'aime pas le noir. Ok, j'ai eu trop peur, j'ai cru que c'était des yeux. J'ai rien dit. Je crois que je vais aller dans le noir. Oh. Non. Me dis pas que...
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Je sais pas ce que je tape. Aïe. J'en perds mon écouteur. Bon. Oh là 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 là. Je sais pas où on va. Je sais pas où on va. Qui a pissé? Ah non, c'est du café. C'est du café. Ah, mes écouteurs, ils sont vraiment chiants. Tac.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Ah ouais? Pourquoi j'ai pas le droit d'admirer la salle de
Standing
pause?
now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
On va aller tout droit.
And so he
Je sais pas aller
detoured
tout
through
droit.
the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
C'est bien, on va pouvoir aller à l'ascenseur
Yet there was not a single person here
sans me
either.
faire avoir.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Ferré, il a même
office.
pas le temps de finir ses phrases. C'est magnifique. On descend, on monte. Moi, je dis qu'on monte.
Entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take, too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life
C'est
from
des
a
bouteilles
man
qui vaut
denied
très
any
cher, ça,
hope,
du patron.
any reason to keep
Les voler.
going. Here
Et
on the
comme ça, tu la
floor, he
revends
lay
après.
prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a
fais
full
max,
hour. But when at last he
€120,
began to move about and
même
survey
500
the
s'il faut.
situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future? Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and
Digicode.
so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible to get. Incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly
Amazing.
opened passageway.
Mister CPC. En vrai, j'ai pas envie d'aller là. Obligé d'aller là? On peut faire quoi d'autre? Parce que je vais pas te mentir. Je sais plus ce que ça donne, mais ça donne pas ce que je voulais. C'est très embêtant tout ça. Dans 2 secondes. Dans 2 secondes. Ah bah d'accord. Bon bah bonne nuit. Bonne nuit. Fais de beaux rêves. Et bah plein de bisous.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Quoi? Comment ça, une mort violente?
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Oh là 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 là.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Waouh. Une lumière rouge menaçante. Pas du tout suspect. Je viens de me suicider là. Ah non.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Non, non. Oh non.
Farewell, Stanley. cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Quoi? Quoi?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
C'est quoi ce bordel? Quoi? Armoire d'arrangement. Quoi? Bureau. Ouah. Salle de maintenance. Les premières versions de la salle de maintenance. Ok. Imprimante. Je suis mort? Enfin, j'imagine que oui, mais... Annonce ultra de luxe. Fun. Oh, plein d'argent. Quoi? Cameron. Pourquoi il connaissait le narrateur? From Kunlun. Are you a rock? Es-tu un caillou? Oui, je suis un caillou. Quoi? 1, 1, 2, 8, 0, 0. Je retiendrai pas, mais... Ok. Quoi? Je comprends absolument rien. Non, mais je comprends vraiment rien dans l'anglais. Last name. Ok. Bureau. Une charge. Quoi? Premier choix. Si j'obéis, je peux aller vers Strike Case. Si je désobéis, je peux aller vers la lounge. Et après, aller vers l'event. On est dans un mode casse ou... Non mais... Ok. Ah, vraiment, j'essaie de comprendre. Salle de réunion. Ah. Excusez-moi, je baille. Fin relaxante. Se trouve dans la fin relaxante, le joueur devait actionner un levier. Le narrateur décrivait la couleur du levier choisi. Bonne annonce. J'ai pas compris. Ça, j'ai compris que j'étais morte. Sous-sol.
Anything in this room. Perfect example of poor level design. Textbook mistake. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you.
Je peux redémarrer le jeu là? Ok. Ça... Oh mais... C'est pas le même bureau? Quoi? Attends. Vraiment là, je suis en mode... Quoi?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ok.
When Stanley came to a set of two open
On va
doors,
aller là.
this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. Was it this room? A connection between the two? Could a man love a room? I mean, truly, truly, deeply, madly love.
Quoi?
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all
Non, mais
your
vraiment, je
co-workers
comprends
have
pas, hein.
mysteriously vanished,
Merde.
here you sit looking at these chairs, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Ah, je pouvais aller...
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to
C'était
his
fait exprès, mais
death.
je m'attendais tout
Good
sauf à
job,
ça.
Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
J'aurais peut-être dû sauter sur les camions.
Wait, Stanley thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too
Il y a une phrase à
majestic,
chaque fois
but
que
eager
je...
to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh là 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 là.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
On va éviter de refaire la même erreur.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong
En
foot
vrai, je peux
here.
sauter sur les
I'm not
camions.
your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing, but in his eagerness to prove that
Ok,
he
non,
is
je
in
peux pas
control
sauter.
of the story
Je
and
peux
no
pas
one
sauter sur le
gets to tell
camion.
him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform
Mais il y a des
and
portes en
plunged to
bas.
his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing?
Il dit jamais la même chose. Ce jeu est incroyable. Vraiment, je suis
When Stanley
amoureuse.
came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Une carte. Il doit y avoir une carte. Oh. Il était là ce panneau ou pas? Parce que j'étais marqué sinon. Faut une carte. Putain. Pas de carte.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you... What? Really? I was in the middle of
Yes.
something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red... All right, fine, go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen?
Oui.
Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map, because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted?
Oui.
Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing. Because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what,
Franchement,
let
j'adore.
me take a
C'est
stab in
très
the
beau.
dark at a new design and you can give
Très
me some feedback.
oppressant aussi.
There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stan. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. Clearly there's something here that speaks to you. If I can
trop
be
bien.
honest here, I really
J'adore.
don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark. But I guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look. Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You
Ok.
wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Ok, vas-y, je te fais
In
confiance.
this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life.
Est-ce que
I
je
think
laisse
the
le bébé?
art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes.
J'adore.
This seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
C'est quoi? Est-ce que ça va être un jeu dans un jeu? Est-ce que ça va être League of Legends? Ça va être Valo.
Aha!
Oh.
Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley?
Mais c'est...
What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of twisted erotic purpose.
Ouais.
Yes, that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total
contre, ça fait
mental
un peu laguer.
depravity. So
Ah non,
far,
ça va.
I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Le bruit de Minecraft. Comme par hasard, le seul chemin que je prends, il est bloqué. C'est fou d'avoir un sens d'orientation aussi négatif que le mien. Oh, ça lag à mort, par contre. Ok.
Oh no. No, it can't be.
Ouh, il aime pas trop beaucoup ça.
It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off. Oh, thank goodness, Stanley. What a close call. You nearly wandered off into that thing. That big, open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions, no path to follow. You can just go in any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley.
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game. Preferably something with walls. Something with nice, big, insurmountable walls.
Propose-moi un truc.
I think this will be just the thing. Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind. Just a nice big box for you to run around in.
Sérieusement.
There isn't any possibility that you could get lost
Est-ce qu'il
here.
va avoir des
Now,
voitures et je vais
this
faire...
is game design. Stanley, if you manage to get lost in this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
J'adore. J'adore. Vraiment, je suis amoureuse de
Okay,
ce
so what
jeu.
exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but obviously there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley, I think it's sports ball. Oh, what fun.
Ouais, mais c'est un
We
jeu de
shall run the
voiture.
bases and do a touchdown together. Yes, I think surely
Non,
we
c'est un
must.
jeu de voiture. Je vais me
Okay,
faire
Stanley,
écraser.
here's
Je
the
vais
ball.
mourir.
Have fun.
Dans d'atroces souffrances. Oh putain. Je peux jouer. Je vais marquer un but. En vrai, c'est mieux que FIFA, hein, moi je dis.
Are you doing it? Are you winning? Is this fun? Is it better than my miserable little story that I worked so hard on? Stanley, I have a thought. And I realize I'm not a sportsologist, but if one ball Hold on. What are you doing?
J'ai suivi la balle. Je suis dans les backrooms.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back.
Ça fait peur de ouf. C'est un jeu d'horreur. En plus, j'ai envie d'aller aux toilettes. Je vais faire me pipi dessus. Oh là là. C'est les... Oh, mais c'est les backstage. Là, tu devais aller par là pour aller jusqu'au bureau. Là, tu devais aller par là pour... Il n'y a pas de par là. Donc, on va aller par là. Alors, je vais dire un truc, mais il habille carrément la partie. Là, ça fait juste peur. Oh, la lumière. Suivons la lumière. C'est mon bureau, ça? On dirait FL Studio. C'est quoi ça? Qu'est-ce que... Mais qu'est-ce que je dois faire? C'est une tuerie, je trouve. Là,
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice.
Le jeu, il me fait grave penser, c'est This is
He'll
not
understand soon
game.
what I was trying to
C'est la
tell
même
him.
voix, je crois.
He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
C'est glauque. Tu me fais peur. Ça charge. Si vous avez pas compris. Psst, ça charge. Eh ben.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is the meeting room. Where is it? Oh.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Ça veut dire ce que ça veut dire. New contenu. Oh. Je me TP. C'est les...
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra
On
Deluxe.
dirait le truc dans FNAF.
As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Wow.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very
Ouais, moi
excited to
aussi.
see the
De
thrilling
ma
new
propre vie,
Ultra
visiblement.
Deluxe content.
Ouais.
Okay, so far it's an elevator.
Ouais,
Nothing special
un
yet,
ascenseur.
but I'm
Je veux la
sure
musique.
it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last,
peur.
it's on to the new
Ouais.
content. I've never been
Nouveau
more ready. Let's
contenu
do it.
est arrivé. En direction le ciel. Wow.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if them... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
C'est passionnant. Je te parie, ça va s'ouvrir, on va tomber.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Non, je peux plus sauter. C'est nul. Bon, bah, on va aller par là. Ah bah...
Goodness, another elevator.
Ouais.
Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary.
vrai
There's
que
20
même le
hours
manège
of
était
new
plus
content right
palpitant,
there.
hein.
Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The
pas
Stanley
dans le
Parable
box.
Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else.
Ouais.
Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game
Ouais, ils
developers
préfèrent
with no
l'argent.
respect for their fan base rush a cheap
vais aller sur cette
expansion to
chaise.
market for no reason other than to make an easy
Ouais,
dollar.
c'est ça.
And don't get me
Ah bah, le
started on the level
capitaliste.
of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Justement,
What do
j'ai pas
you
envie que
say,
tu sois là.
friend?
Non. Non, j'ai dit que... J'ai pas envie que tu relances le jeu. C'est une dinguerie, ça. Oh.
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
J'arrive, je te suis. Mais pourquoi on chuchote? Je pense que ça passe très bien. J'espère que je suis pas mort. C'est bon, je suis pas
Okay,
mort.
you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned
Ouais.
out to be? Well, it
On va
got me
retrouver des
thinking
gens?
about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the
Oh.
game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Ça fait ramer mon PC.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Putain.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
Pas 20h13. Sur Mozilla Firefox. T'as des goûts de merde quand même, hein. Personne va sur Stanley. Sur Mozilla Firefox. Oh, le CD. Oh, l'argent. Oh, putain. Ok, les succès, ouais. Ah ouais, oh, c'est mignon. C'est là où j'étais mort. Je bug un peu, je crois.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, seul sur la pluie des vélos, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created."
Oh,
Did you hear that,
c'est mignon.
Stanley?
J'aime
Every
beaucoup.
game ever created. That's
Il est
how
heureux.
grand and all-encompassing the
l'émotion pour
original
un-
Stanley Parable was. It was
un
literally
narrateur.
every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
J'imagine qu'il faudra l'activer un moment le feu, je pense.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game.
Je trouve ça
9 out of 10.
poétique.
Don't you get it, Stanley? The game
Très,
was perfect.
très beau.
It didn't need anything else.
Enfin,
It
je sais pas ce
didn't
que vous en
need
pensez.
new
En
content.
pensez.
It
En
just
pensez.
needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Waouh. Attends. Elle est où la porte? Ça va, ça bug pas trop. On est parfait, je trouve. Ah, tac. C'est perfecto.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Arrête de faire ramer mon PC!
Oh no. Oh God, no.
C'est une dinguerie,
Stanley, it's a
ça.
collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor.
Oh, no.
I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Je pense pas du tout.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining.
Encore une fois, je l'ai pas dit.
Funny? I'm not
Not
trying to
funny.
be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Je crois qu'il pleut.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this
fait de la peine.
preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black
il me fait de la
marks on
peine,
my
il
otherwise
voulait tellement
unimpeachable
de...
track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as
C'est
I
vrai que t'es
always
désagréable, mais je
remembered.
t'aime bien.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto.
Wow.
I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes,
J'étais
a
dans un
skip
bureau de
button
base.
we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's... Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
Waouh, t'as parlé pendant 12 heures.
Why the skips are getting longer, but they're...
J'aime bien le skip.
Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back.
What?
Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us.
Il est plus là. Et il est plus là. En fait, je crois qu'il a capté que... Il a capté qu'on le skippait, donc... Il a fermé sa bouche. Ça me fait de la peine. C'est très désagréable.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their... The end is never the end, 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 is never...
C'est moi, ça se détériore peu à peu là. Waouh. C'est violent de ouf. Effectivement. Ah oui. C'est très beau. Il n'y a plus le narrateur en fait. Attendez 2 secondes. Ah mince. Bah désolé mon... Bah, j'espère que ça n'a pas arrêté parce que sinon c'est chiant. Bah, je suis désolée, j'ai dû relancer le live parce que ça avait bugué. Ouais, oh, attends, c'est plus très droit. Oh là là. Je suis désolée pour ceux qui regardaient le live. Oh là 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 là. C'est trop beau. C'est de toute beauté. C'est vraiment beau. D'accord, mais c'est quand je dis que c'est beau qu'on me fait quitter. Mais c'est génial ça! Non mais franchement, je suis ravie.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
C'est magnifique. Encore l'ascenseur?
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever the Stanley Parable 2.
Quoi? Sérieusement?
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking.
Oh là 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 là. C'est beau de ouf par contre.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Il y a beaucoup de... Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham, Elysium 2, Divinité originale, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Le Retour de Jafar 2, c'est vrai qu'il y a beaucoup de 2. Oh, 2. Wow.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
C'est assez suspicieux.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person.
Je suis Jim.
I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim. Sleeping and waking as Jim.
Ok, je suis
Falling
Jim.
in love and being heartbroken as Jim. Seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim. And as Jim, watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you
Yes.
feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Yes. Ouais.
Yes, you see? What a thrill, what a rush. That was you. The button described you. Do it again, do it again. Jim. It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation. Whoa there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much Jim. I'm putting the Jim button away. Otherwise, soon you'll start to lose all sense of who you actually are.
Oh là 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 là. Donc, je suis Jim, c'est ça là? I am Jim. Oh là 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 là. Je suis Jim. I am Jim.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Oh là 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 là. C'est quoi ça? Ah, je suis au-dessus. Fini. Oh. Trou sans fond.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley. But I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Bah dis donc.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Trou sans fond.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium. You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say
C'est
so.
pratique en vrai.
Since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Eh bah dis donc. Passionnant ce trou sans fond. Tac.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
C'est
But
magnifique.
The Stanley Parable 2. Now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Comment on fait pour sortir d'ici? Ah, là-bas.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
Le saut!
Hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring
Je veux un saut.
cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Waouh, trop intéressant. Yes. Ah, c'est bon, je peux sortir.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Ah. Bon, bah, je pense qu'on va terminer ici, hein, parce que voilà. On a fait déjà 2 heures sur la première, le premier live. Je suis désolée pour que ça soit coupé comme ça. C'était pas censé faire ça. Mais sur ce, j'espère que vous avez apprécié The Stanley Parable. Moi, j'ai grave kiffé. C'était trop bien. On refera peut-être pour découvrir d'autres fins. Je ne sais pas encore. Sur ce, au niveau des vacances, je streamerai peut-être un peu plus. Je vous redirai, de toute façon, c'est pour ça que je vous conseille de me suivre sur Instagram. Et si ce live vous a plu, enfin, la première partie du live vous a plu, je vous invite à partager, liker, beaucoup partager. Et si vous voulez soutenir la chaîne de stream, il y a vous pouvez me faire des dons qui sont dans la description. Sur ce, j'espère que ce live vous a plu. Et je vous dis à la prochaine.